Welcome to the first What If Wednesday, a sporadic series where I go through all sorts of hypotheticals, like alternate game rules, modes of play, and beyond. I am going to start the series with an event, my first stab at an archetype, merging mechanics and narrative to create an interesting gameplay style. The question to be answered this time is, what if there was a detour in the circle of life? The circle of life, of course, is the concept of birth, reproduction, and death, where some of the same organic matter is recycled each generation. On an isolated plateau in the middle of the jungle, there is a relic of obscure and antediluvian nature, a massive cistern and fountain, acting as the only water source for the local fauna. The animals drink from the fountain, and after naturally expiring, have a short period of time where they are reanimated, although only as a decaying shadow, driven solely by most basal instincts. The archetype is composed of a living variant of each monster, then a turned variant. This is turned in the sense of changed, and I would use the word bake for the OCG cards, like from Bakemono or Bakeneko. This video is only main deck monsters, to help establish the theme and go into detail about the design rationale. First up is Zombiest II, named after the freaky big-eyed lemur. It, like all the other unturned Zombiest monsters, is beast type, then becomes zombie type after turning. I did borrow the Zombiest name from Deathstalker Rexar, by the way. If Konami wants to make use of the idea, I am sure they will come up with a good substitute. Back to Zombiest II. Level 2, Earth, Beast, Effect, Tuner, 800 attack, 200 defense. 1. Once per turn, you can look at your opponent's hand. And 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon one turned Zombiest II from your hand or deck in defense position. You can only activate this effect of Zombiest II once per turn. Looking at your opponent's hand is a pretty strong effect, even if it does not offer card advantage, or even the possibility of disruption, like with Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. The first effect is not a hard once per turn, because I do not think that it would be overpowered to check the opponent's hand multiple times per turn, in case they add a card from their deck to hand. The second effect is a hard once per turn, and I could probably get away with the only once per turn problem-solving card text to reinforce this, but the exact wording is subject to change. This special summon effect carries over to all the unturned Zombiasts, with the name being swapped out. Speaking of which, turned Zombiest II is also a level 2 monster, changing attribute to dark and type to zombie. The turned monsters have attack points equal to the sum of attack and defense points of their corresponding living counterpart, with 0 defense to compensate. This is also in line with many other zombie monsters, and makes the turned Zombiasts recurring nightmare targets. Now, on to the rules text. 1. Once per turn, you can discard a Zombiest card, then draw a card. And 2. This card cannot be normal summoned or set, and can only be special summoned by the effect of a Zombiest card. During your next end phase after this card is summoned, send it to the graveyard. The first effect is a soft once per turn for conditional card draw. This is card selection, but not raw card advantage, although loading the graveyard can lead to board presence, in the event you discard an unturned Zombiest monster. The summoning restriction should make pulling off the first effect more than once or twice a turn pretty difficult though. This summon restriction carries over to the other turned Zombiest monsters, making them bricks in hand, but there are several pieces of support to help circumvent this problem. The self-destruct effect is also shared with the other turned Zombiest monsters, and is a bit of flavor, noting the short duration of undeath. It is there for balance too, but I doubt the monster will stay on the field for too long. Up next is Zombiest Unicorn. Level 2, Earth, Beast, 600 attack, 800 defense. Once per turn, gain 800 life points. Then, there is also the special summon effect. Gaining life points will not win you the game on its own, so only a soft once per turn. Then, the special summon effect carries over to get out turned Zombiest Unicorn. Speaking of which, level 2, Dark Zombie, effect, 1400 attack, 0 defense. Only once per turn. Inflict 800 damage to the opponent. Then there's the summoning restriction and self-destruct effect. As a corrupted unicorn, the turn version inflicts burn damage. Burn effects are very scary, as loops can cause FTKs, so this has to be a hard once per turn. Up next is Zombiest Panther, level 4, Earth, Beast, 1800 attack, 600 defense. Quick effect, once per turn, target one banished monster and return it to the graveyard. Then there's the special summon effect. As a quick effect, returning a monster from the banished zone to the graveyard can be a very narrow disruption tool, since you can target your opponent's monsters as well. But more importantly, 1/3 of a burial from a different dimension is a strong effect in recycling a living Zombiest monster. Although you will not be able to use that monster's special summon effect a second time in the same turn. And again, there's the same special summon effect, this time bringing out turned Zombiest Panther, a level 4 dark zombie effect monster, 2400 attack, 0 defense. Only once per turn, you can send a Zombiest monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then there is the summoning restriction and self-destruct effect. As a hard once per turn, a foolish burial effect is still quite strong, so it might have to be limited to just Zombiest monsters. But that is probably to be decided in playtesting. Generic zombie support like Mizuki doesn't do much for the deck since the Zombiasts are Nomi monsters, so I'm not sure if the archetype restriction is totally necessary. Zombiest Wolf is next. Level 4, Earth, Beast, Effect, Tuner, 1600 attack, 600 defense. Once per turn, you may shuffle one card from your hand into the deck, and if you do, special summon a Zombiest monster from your graveyard in defense position. The second effect, of course, is the more familiar special summon, getting out turned Zombiest Wolf. Both of these are hard once per turn effects, testing out slightly different wording. Shuffling a card from hand into the deck is not the steepest cost, and another way to unbrick when drawing the turned monsters. This monster points out an important distinction as well, that the turned monsters can be special summoned by any Zombiest card, not just their corresponding living counterpart. This monster also specifically special summons turned Zombiest Wolf, which is a level 4 dark zombie effect monster with 2200 attack, 0 defense. Only once per turn, special summon a banished Zombiest monster in attack mode. Then there's the summoning restriction and self-destruct effect. The hard once per turn is necessary to limit swarm, especially since getting a Zombiest into the banished zone is pretty easy. In fact, you can bring back the living wolf and make a rank 4 or link 2 monster. These two cards are strong playmakers. The last main deck monster for the video is Zombiest Shrew. Level 2, Earth, Beast, Effect, Tuner monster with 200 attack, 200 defense. Once per turn, you may add one Zombiest card from your graveyard or banished zone to your hand. Then there's the special summon effect for turned Zombiest Shrew. This is a +1 in card advantage, just plain and simple. Getting back a spell or trap is probably the best use for this card, but spells and traps are the subject of the next video in the series, so recycling living Zombiest monsters is also not a bad choice for now. Both effects are hard once per turn to prevent loops. And we finish with turned Zombiest Shrew. Level 2, dark zombie effect tuner, 400 attack, 0 defense. Target a Zombiest monster you control and a face-up card on the field. Tribute the Zombiest monster, and if you do, banish the targeted card. Then there is the special summon, restriction, and self-destruct effect. Banishing removal, even if it targets, is always valued when going second. In terms of card economy, the Shrew is a bit beefier than Diamond Direwolf, but I think the big benefit is getting an unturned Zombiest into the graveyard to extend plays. This is the only monster to not have a once per turn restriction of either kind, meaning that you can keep banishing cards so long as you have resources available. I realize that the phrase once per turn has been used ad nauseum, but it is necessary to curb swarming or building too much card advantage too quickly. Many cards which have a graveyard effect restrict activation by saying, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard. and I think this trade-off is acceptable. Special summoning from deck is among the strongest effects in the game, so adding a lot of Guardians into your main deck will make deck construction quite interesting in my opinion, trying to find those perfect ratios. The turned Zombiest summon restriction is removed with another support card, but that is getting into the spell and trap support, which I will hopefully cover in the near future.